Have you ever looked at your grown child, now a parent themselves, and thought, wow, they have no idea what they're in for? It's funny, isn't it? You spend years raising them, cleaning up spills, wiping little noses, worrying through long nights, and now, here they are, pacing the living room at 2 a.m. with a crying baby, wondering why no one gave them a manual for this whole parenting thing. And maybe you found yourself sitting on the couch with a grandchild in your arms, heart full, watching your son or daughter navigate the early days of parenting, so much love in their eyes, and so much exhaustion, too. And you think, if only someone had told them this or that. That's what this video is all about. Whether you're a new grandparent, a wise friend, or simply someone who wants to support the young parents in your life, we're going to talk through 6 baby care basics that often slip through the cracks. These aren't the ones they'll find in baby books or apps. These are the little things, the quiet truths, that can make a world of difference. And if you're someone who raised kids decades ago, you might even nod along and think, yep, that would have saved me a lot of stress back then. Let's start with one of the biggest surprises for most new parents. Babies don't always sleep when they're tired. Now that might sound strange at first. You'd think that a tired baby would just close their eyes and drift off, right? But in reality, an overtired baby is like a little time bomb of fussiness. Their nervous system goes into overdrive, they get cranky, harder to soothe, and before you know it, they're crying for hours, and no one really knows why. What most new parents don't realize is that timing matters more than how tired the baby is. There's actually a short window when a baby is drowsy but not overtired, and if they're put down during that time, poof, they might just settle down easily. But if that window is missed, you've got a wide-eyed, overstimulated baby who's ready to fight sleep like it's a sport. This is where your experience comes in. You might gently suggest to your son or daughter, hey, it seems like little Emma's rubbing her eyes and turning her head, want to try putting her down? Just that calm, knowing tone from you can be grounding for them. You're not taking over, just offering insight, and that can mean the world to a new parent who's running on fumes. Now let's move into something even simpler, but somehow even more overlooked. Newborns don't need constant stimulation. In a world of baby toys that flash, sing, and vibrate, and yes, somehow do all 3 at once, it's easy for new parents to think they need to be doing something with their baby all the time. But the truth is, babies, especially in the first few months, are still adjusting to the world. They don't need a parade of rattles and baby gyms. Sometimes, the best thing for their little minds is just stillness. A calm room. A soft voice. A window to look out of. These are the things that help a newborn process the huge amount of new sights and sounds they're taking in each day. Overstimulating them can actually lead to more crying, fussiness, and poor sleep, which, of course, then leads to even more stress for the parents. You can gently pass on this wisdom by simply modeling it. Hold the baby, hum a little tune, sit by the window and just let them gaze at the trees. No flashing toys, no loud noises, just peace. You'd be surprised how often a new parent will say, wow, they're so calm with you, and that's your moment to share that babies sometimes just need less, not more. And then there's a third thing that catches almost every new parent off guard. Baby crying doesn't always mean something's wrong. It can be so hard for first-time parents to hear their baby cry. Every little wail feels like a siren going off, a problem that needs solving right now. And of course, crying can mean hunger, or discomfort, or needing a diaper change, but sometimes, crying is just part of how babies release tension. It doesn't always need a fix. That can be a really hard concept to grasp when you're exhausted and feeling unsure of yourself. So you, as someone with a little more distance and a lot more experience, can be the calm voice in the room that says, they've been fed and changed, and sometimes they just need to fuss for a bit. You're doing fine. That reassurance can take a weight off a new parent's shoulders. Because beneath all their questions about bottles and burping and bedtime routines is usually one big fear, am I doing this right? And hearing you say, with confidence, yes, you are, can help them breathe a little easier. You're not stepping in to take over, you're simply anchoring the moment. Helping them understand that not every cry is a crisis, and not every fuss needs a fix. Sometimes the baby just needs to be held, to be heard, to be allowed a little space to be human, even if that human is only 8 pounds and 3 weeks old. And really, isn't that what all of us want? To be seen, soothed, and supported, not necessarily solved? Now that we've covered the way sleep, stimulation, and crying can confuse and overwhelm new parents, let's move gently into the next part of this conversation. Because there are still a few more quiet truths every new parent deserves to hear, and you might be just the person to share them. Because being that calm, steady presence in a new parent's life can mean more than you'll ever know. You've already helped them get through scraped knees and awkward school dances. This next chapter, the early days of parenting, is just another chance to show up with that same love, just in a slightly different way. Let's talk about something that often takes new parents by surprise. Even though it's one of the most basic parts of having a baby, feeding doesn't always go as planned. Now, whether it's breastfeeding, bottle feeding, or a mix of both, there's this quiet pressure many new parents feel to get it right. They might go in thinking feeding will be natural, easy, instinctual, and when it's not, they can feel like they're failing. Maybe the baby isn't latching properly. Maybe they're spitting up after every meal. Maybe the baby wants to eat every hour on the hour, and suddenly mom and dad feel like they're stuck in a loop of constant feeding, burping, and cleaning up. Here's the truth that doesn't always get shared: feeding is a learning curve for both the baby and the parents. It's not supposed to be perfect from the start. And sometimes, just hearing that from someone who's been through it can be the relief a new parent didn't know they needed. You can say things like, "It's okay if it's not smooth right away. You're learning together," or, "All babies are different. What worked for one might not work for another." That little nudge of reassurance can be enough to help them trust their instincts and breathe a bit easier. And if they decide to switch from breast to bottle, or need to supplement with formula, your support matters more than you think. This isn't the time for judgment or outdated advice. It's the time for compassion. Because behind every feeding choice is a parent trying their best, and what they need most is someone cheering them on, not second-guessing them. Now, let's move into another biggie, one that's not talked about nearly enough. New parents often forget to take care of themselves. And it's no wonder. The baby becomes the entire universe, and suddenly showers, meals, and even basic rest feel like luxuries. You've probably seen it firsthand: your grown child, now a new mom or dad, with tired eyes and hair that hasn't been washed in days, trying to keep everything together. What they might not realize is that their well-being affects the baby just as much as diapers and feedings do. A frazzled, burned-out parent has a harder time staying calm when the baby cries. They might forget to eat, and that can affect milk supply or energy. They might start feeling isolated, overwhelmed, or even resentful, and none of that is selfish or wrong. It's just the reality of early parenthood. That's where you come in. Maybe you offer to hold the baby while they take a nap. Or you show up with a warm meal and tell them to sit while you do the dishes. Even something as small as sending a text that says, "You're doing an amazing job, I'm proud of you," can remind them that they're not alone. And if you sense that they're struggling emotionally, gently let them know it's okay to ask for help. There's so much pressure out there to be a super parent, and not nearly enough encouragement to just be real. You can be the one who gives them permission to take a break, to not have it all figured out, to be human. Because let's be honest, parenting isn't just physically demanding, it's emotionally draining, too. Those long nights, the constant guessing games, the worrying over every tiny cough or sneeze, it's a lot. And when you're in it, you can forget to come up for air. You, with your years of wisdom and life experience, can be the gentle reminder that yes, this phase is hard, but it's also temporary. That the dishes can wait, the laundry will still be there, and what really matters is being present, not perfect. And here's something else new parents might not know, and might need to hear from someone who's lived a little longer: bonding with a baby doesn't always happen instantly. We see those sweet commercials and picture-perfect photos of parents cradling their newborns with stars in their eyes. And yes, sometimes that happens. But just as often, new parents feel a bit disconnected. They love their baby, of course, but they might not feel that magical bond right away. And then comes the guilt. I should feel something more. Why don't I feel as close as I thought I would? Is something wrong with me? No, nothing is wrong. Sometimes bonding takes time. It grows with each diaper change, each sleepy snuggle, each moment of eye contact. That deep love builds slowly for some parents, and that's completely okay. If you experienced that yourself, if it took time for you to connect with your baby, you can share that. Say, I didn't feel it all at once either, but it came. Or, love grows in the everyday moments, not just the big ones. That honesty is like a warm blanket for a parent who's quietly wondering if they're doing it wrong. So much of what new parents go through is hidden under the surface. They might smile and say, "We're fine," while inside, they're questioning everything. That's why your support, your gentle support, is so valuable. You've got the perspective of time. You've seen what matters and what doesn't. And you have the gift of being able to say, "This part is hard, but it will pass." Now that we've talked about how feeding, self-care, and bonding can bring unexpected challenges, let's continue this journey, because there are still a couple more baby care basics new parents rarely hear, and you might be just the right person to bring them to light. And sometimes, just having someone who's been there say, "You're not alone in this," can be the most powerful form of support a new parent can receive. You know, we talk so much about what the baby needs, sleep, milk, cuddles, but what about what the parents need? Especially when they're knee-deep in this new, beautiful, and bewildering chapter of life. Let's take a moment to talk about something new parents rarely expect. Every baby is different, even siblings. You'd think that once you've had one child, the second would be a piece of cake. But the truth is, babies come with their own personalities right from the start. Some sleep like angels, some fight every nap. Some are calm and curious, others are loud and opinionated from day one. And that can be a real curveball, even for experienced parents. New parents, especially when they are on baby number 2, might find themselves thinking, "Why isn't this working like it did with our first?" And that confusion can bring on a whole new round of doubt. They might feel like they're somehow messing things up, or like they've forgotten how to parent overnight. That's when your words can really make a difference. Share stories from your own parenting journey, times when one child was easygoing and another was a firecracker. Let them know that different doesn't mean difficult, and that parenting isn't about finding a one-size-fits-all approach. It's about learning your baby, this specific baby, and responding with love and patience, even when the rulebook you used last time no longer applies. Sometimes, just saying, "Each baby teaches you something new," is enough to shift their whole perspective. Suddenly, instead of feeling like they're doing something wrong, they begin to realize they're just getting to know a whole new little person, and that takes time. And speaking of time, let's talk about one more baby care truth that so often gets buried under all the advice, apps, and parenting checklists. It's okay to enjoy the quiet moments, even when things are chaotic. When you're in the thick of diapers, feedings, and sleep deprivation, it's easy to feel like every second needs to be productive. Like if the baby is napping, you should be folding laundry. Or if you're holding the baby, you should be bouncing, patting, swaying, doing something. But the moments that really stick, the ones new parents look back on with a smile, are often the quiet ones. A baby sleeping on your chest. The rhythm of a rocking chair. That soft baby sigh while they stretch their tiny arms and yawn. Those are the pauses that matter. And sometimes, new parents need permission to slow down. To stop trying to fill every moment with action or improvement and instead just be with their baby. You can model that. Show them how to sit in stillness. How to breathe together. How to take in the little things that disappear too quickly. You can say, "You don't have to do anything right now, just enjoy this." That kind of wisdom can be grounding in a world that's constantly telling them to hustle, optimize, and get it all right. And if you found yourself thinking, "They don't make parenting like they used to," you are not wrong. Today's parents are bombarded with information. Every decision feels like it comes with 5 different opinions and a dozen articles telling them what they should be doing. That kind of pressure can be paralyzing. That's why your voice, the calm, steady voice that says, "You're doing enough," is so needed. You're not here to lecture. You're not here to correct. You're here to remind them that parenting isn't about perfection, it's about connection. That love doesn't need to be loud, or scheduled, or filtered through an app. It just needs to show up, day after day, in small, steady ways. So whether you're a grandparent, a great-grandparent, or just someone who's walked this path before, your quiet confidence can be the greatest gift to the young parents in your life. You've seen the sleepless nights, the messy houses, the worry and wonder and beauty of raising babies, and you know that somehow, even when it feels impossible, it all works out. That's the gift of hindsight. And that's exactly what the new parents around you need most, not more rules or routines, but real reassurance that they're doing better than they think. Let's take a second to gather all this up. We've talked about how babies don't always sleep when they're tired. That too much stimulation can do more harm than good. That not every cry needs to be fixed, and feeding isn't always smooth from the start. We've talked about the importance of new parents caring for themselves, and that bonding can take time, and that's perfectly okay. We covered how no two babies are alike, even in the same family, and finally, how slowing down to appreciate the stillness can be just as meaningful as the busy moments. 6 simple truths, maybe not flashy or groundbreaking, but each one a lifeline for a parent who's feeling uncertain, overwhelmed, or just plain tired. If any of these resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What was one piece of baby advice you wish someone had given you? Or one moment from your early parenting days you'll never forget? Sharing those memories not only helps others feel connected, it might just make a new parent out there feel a little less alone. And if this video helped you see your role in a new light, as a gentle guide, a steady hand, a loving voice, please give it a like. And if you want more conversations like this, go ahead and subscribe. We're building a space here for wisdom, support, and real-life stories that matter. Because you're not done sharing your gifts. You're not done making a difference. And the love you have to give? It's still changing lives, one baby, one family, one quiet moment at a time. Here's to raising the next generation with heart, with patience, and with grace. Here's to you,